So the book is just coming out now, so it may not be available yet in all stores, correct?
Yeah, it comes out on May the 11th. It actually hits the streets on May the 11th. Most stores, to be honest, already have it in. They have it in the back room somewhere, but they bring them out. There's a certain display date that they talk about, and so they bring them from the back room where they've been shipped, and they bring them out and they put them on the shelf. So the shelf date is May 11th.
Fantastic, and you can order that on Amazon.com or Amazon.ca if you're still waiting for that. And also your website. I was looking around your website, and you have a members area, and people can ask you questions. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, we do. And there's a shortcut to the site. It's kind of what I call a backdoor address, which is www, of course, ndwhome.com. NDW, naturally, stands for Neale Donald Walsch. So you just use my initials. ndwhome.com will get you to my home page. When you get on my home page, if you choose, there are many, many wonderful features there that are free, no charge, totally available to anyone who wants to use them, including, I might add, a total electronic book called The Holy Experience that's absolutely free. It's a full-length book, many chapters long. And if you, for a small fee, I think it's like $1.95 a week or $2.10 a week, something like that, you can join the Messenger Circle, which has just a huge swath of special features as well, including the opportunity to ask me any question you want about any subject covered in any one of the 9 Conversations with God books. That special area is called the Messenger Circle, and we now have well over 1,000 people who arrive there every day and chat back and forth. I also chat on that place every single day. We have conversations back and forth with readers who want to just chat about something or ask or talk, just as Alex was doing a moment ago. And so that is the place that we do that. And I always promised that I would try to make myself as accessible as possible in order to have this kind of a sophisticated website. And once you get there, you'll see how many pages there are and how sophisticated it is. I mean, there are videos and audios and online courses and many, many exciting things, including, I might add, an emotional support center where people who are having emotional challenges right now can go and receive emotional support. So in order to do that, there are some expense behind that, of course. We have people who are doing all of this. So we ask people if they want to join that area to just give us a few dollars a week, less than you'd spend on a video. And many folks do, and they choose to become members of the Messenger Circle there. Thanks for mentioning that. And yes, people can connect with me there every day. I'm there. Every morning I get up and I spend a couple of hours on that site interacting with people all over the world.
Well, that's so wonderful. And Neale, it's great to know that people who are in emotional crisis, because I think right now, with everything that's going on, a lot of people are kind of at that breaking point of being in emotional crisis, and
that's exactly right.
The economy and now the swine flu and everything. I mean, if you turn on the television, it's like, oh no.
It's not one thing, it's another. You're absolutely right. And so, in fact, with the book, when everything changes everything. We're creating a whole network around that book. We're turning this book is one of the world's first totally interactive books. That is, you can get on the website changingchange.net, and you can join the Changing Change network. And when you get to that website, you can actually find the whole book on the website electronically. Click on any chapter or any paragraph, or even for that matter, any word. And when you click on that sentence, up will come a dialogue that other readers are having right now in real time about that same paragraph on one side of the screen. And on the other side of the screen will come up a commentary that I have made, either in video form or audio form or in written form about that very same paragraph. So that it offers you an opportunity to go behind the book to even deeper levels of exploration and explanation about the material. So just a wonderful, and there as well, there is an emotional support center for people who are having a very difficult time moving through the changes right now that are confronting them in their lives. They go to the emotional support center and they can find immediate support from members of the Changing Change Network who will get back to them in 24 hours or less with some kind of opportunity to share energy energy and pick up some support, some information, some deeper insight around what they're going through. So yeah, see, my determination is that people will never be alone. Marie, to be honest with you, the worst part of my experience of life that we described earlier when I was on the street and so forth is that I was alone. I was desperately alone. Of course, I didn't realize that God was always with me. So I had the experience of being utterly and completely shut out by society, by the world around me, even to some degree by my own family members for a period of time. And so I was totally and completely and utterly alone, too embarrassed to tell my friends what had happened to me, too upset to go back to my family of origin. I wasn't going to call up my 86-year-old father and so forth. So rather than get into any of that, I just kind of stayed there by myself, living in a campground, actually, living in a homeless park for homeless people. It wasn't even a park for homeless people. Homeless people simply took over the place, and nobody ever pushed us out. And so there I was living in that homeless campground with a tent and a sleeping bag, wondering, how has it come to this? And Marie, I made a promise to myself. I made it, if I ever get out of here, if I ever get off the street, if I ever get back to real life, nobody will ever be alone again during their time of difficulty, if I can help it.
That is such a moving statement, and I just really want to thank you for being, as some people would call, a light worker out there, bringing this message to the world that that people are not alone and that they do always have God with them, as well as hopefully there's always someone that you can turn to. And I think, like what you mentioned, the embarrassment and the shame of turning to people, I'm wondering if you had it to do over again, would you have kind of swallowed your pride and turned to someone who cared about you?
You bet I would. That's the first of the changes that we suggest in the book. You know, the book, When Everything Changes, Change Everything, lists 9 changes that would change everything in the way you experience change in your life. And the first change, the very first change, is the answer to the question you just asked, which was a wonderful question, by the way. And the first change in the book is change your decision to go it alone. It is not necessary to go it alone. And the book describes how it is the tendency of most people, myself included, to self-isolate when things are going on in our lives. We don't want to burden others with it, we don't want to bother others with it, and we don't want to embarrass ourselves. So for a whole long list of reasons, we just don't tell anybody what's going on with us. We just turn inward, we become secluded in some cases, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, don't talk to very many people. Soon the phone calls start ebbing down to 0. We sit there watching reruns on television every night until 10 o'clock, go to bed, try to read a book, and all by ourselves trying to deal in our heads with what's going on. You ask me would I have done it differently if it ever happened again? You bet I would. The first thing I would do, not the last thing, but the first thing I would do is pick up the phone and call those who love me and say, you know what, I don't want to be a burden, but I'm in trouble here. I'm